Let's get straight into it, and we'll start with Vic Metro and Allies. And Vic Metro got the job done 9-13-67 to Allies 6-15-51. Scoreline probably tells it all in terms of the way the game panned out. I think Allies got out to 110 and pretty much set the tone for the rest of the day. That bad kicking is bad football in that sense, and they were always competitive. And fair play, I probably didn't give them as much as a chance as they did show in the end, but yeah, it was that midfield class that won it for Metro, as probably expected. That's probably what's going to lead them through the champs. But let's start at the top. Jagger Smith brought his own football.
Yeah, it was the Jagger Smith show, wasn't it? I was saying to someone last night, when Jagger Smith gets drafted, you're going to probably play the Moves Like Jagger song because of the natural comparison. But he literally does have moves. The way he contorts his body is really, really impressive. And it was another performance to add to his resume, which across the last 3 weeks has really grown. Obviously, the 50 disposal game, the 40 disposal game, I think 32 disposals for Vic Metro. So not only is he able to find the footy, but I thought it was quite damaging when he did get it. So another Jagger Smith masterclass.
Yeah, it was all the typical Jagger moves, evasive, agile. I mean, he was unselfish at times when he went inside 50 as well, just finding the best option. And there was those moments of poise from him, and yeah, you can't want anything more than someone like that around the contest, really. But that was a 5-star performance from him. And I think our next, on our votes, our next one down, Murphy Reid, that was an outstanding first game from him, and something to really build on. Just typical, similar to Jagger in the sense that they're very silky players and they understand space around them so well to assess where they are, especially outside 50 in that danger area where you can find that next kick in. I just thought he was so effective and elusive, found the best option, well composed. It was a very prototype Murphy Reid game.
Yeah, composed. I think you've hit the nail on the head there. I said to you in the first quarter, I was a little bit surprised he was getting midfield minutes, not for any reason to do with him, but there's so many players that can go through the Vic Metro midfield. I just didn't think he would be in their top 3 or 4 options, but he well and truly proved me wrong. He's obviously had a strong bottom age campaign and had some moments this season without probably having that real statement game until Sunday, but certainly that was a great way to start the national championships with his calmness and, yeah, like you say, that ability to elude contact when he's in traffic, get out of traffic and then hit a target was really impressive. The one that really boosted his draft stocks the most, obviously Murphy Reid, really good, and we know how good Jagger Smith was, but I don't think people expected to see Damon Hollow perform as well as what he did, because he was playing on the wing, and that's obviously a secondary position for him. We knew we were going to see some positional flexibility with some of these Vic Metro midfielders, and he was one who well and truly showed he has got that versatility. He brought it from the first 10 minutes. I think he had 4 or 5 really big efforts, brought the energy, and yeah, has that speed, which he showed as well, and used the footy with class and had cleanliness that belied the wet conditions.
Yeah, well, finished with 21 touches, and I just thought that game from the inside where he's got that natural burst out of stoppage just translated to the outside. It was simple. It was just someone who took it on really well. Yeah, and like you said, he brought that energy from the first 10 minutes, had a bit of a lower patch, as in the second quarter, but picked it right up again and was so productive with his work rate. And I mean, glad he adds that extra bit of versatility to his skill set now that he can play on inside and outside, but also kicked. It was one of the match-winning goals in the end. Yeah. It was a set shot. It wasn't the match-winning goal in the end, but it was, one of those.
Felt crucial.
Yeah, felt crucial, yeah.
Yeah, context of the game.
The setup of it. But he was terrific.
Yeah, certainly. I think as well, Levi Ashcroft played well without having that absolute statement that Jagger Smith had. He was pretty good in the Metro midfield, kicked a crucial goal as well. Yeah. Was the free kick there or not? You're going to question that, obviously. But, to kick a set shot from the boundary line and show that finishing polish was really good. And
drop punt as well.
Yeah.
It was a ridiculous shot.
Absolutely. And, we know his work rate, his ability to get to so many contests and put himself in ball-winning positions. I thought he was really good. Harry Oliver's one that we have to touch on as well. I thought his pressure in the back line was really strong, showed his quick hands, and just hit his targets, was really efficient.
Yeah, high footy IQ. That's just naturally the way he goes about his game, and helps when you've got a midfield like that to look up and find. And, yeah, it was just really effective with his touch in the end.
Yep. I think someone else that I'd probably want to give a shout out to, I'm just looking at the Vic Metro backline now, and maybe we go through lines, but Luca Grego I thought in the backline was pretty good. He was quite strong over the footy, brought that trademark pressure and hardness. I thought driving into the game yesterday, Nathan, and I think I said to you, it was, raining quite heavily. Who do these conditions suit of the players that are playing? And I think I thought Luca Grego, and he did have some nice moments with his follow-up, and he hit his targets generally pretty well as well. So that was good to see. Harry O'Farrell had some okay moments in the back line. Probably would have liked to have been a little bit cleaner, but got himself into good positions. And obviously we touched on Harrison Oliver as well.
I mean, I'd like to touch on Jaden Ewan, and I know we had kind of mixed opinions about his game, and I thought he was quite productive. And whilst the disposal efficiency, I mean, we don't have that stat. I'm surprised given these are on the AFL stats. Oh, you do have disposal efficiency, but effective disposals aren't there. But I thought he was pretty productive, kept moving up, and that work rate high up the ground at times was clean by hand. I thought just those few kicks that were an inch off, but for someone who's probably a bit lower on the confidence scale compared to most in that Vic Metro team, I thought it was a pretty productive outing.
Yeah, I still think he would have liked to have done a fair bit more.
But I think naturally that's a game you can build on and say that was okay for my standard. And he's probably got still another level to reach this year, and he probably has to reach another level. But didn't think it was too bad. And probably the last Metro play I'd bring up, unless you want to bring up any more, is his Calder teammate Isaac Kako, who had his small forward moments, and that's all he had to have, really. Just really crafty, read the ball well ahead of the play, and kicked another goal at the end of the game. That pretty much, one of those crucial sealing goals as well.
Yeah, I think it's also important to touch on Pat Reshko. Yep. If the wingers didn't play well yesterday, I think I would have been pretty harsh given the fact that Lucas McInerney, who hopefully gets a game later in the championships, was overlooked as a specialist winger. But yeah, I thought he was pretty good. We know how hard he works, his ability to cover the ground. Maybe would have liked to have been cleaner with his disposal at times, but certainly still found plenty of the footy and ran those lanes really well and held his wits. So I really liked what I saw from him.
Can I just, before you move on?
Yeah.
Jaden Ewan, 88.9% disposal efficiency, second on the ground for Metro.
Yeah.
So maybe it wasn't as bad, but
just didn't find as much of the footy, and
still
made some errors.
Still can reach another level. But yeah, let's move to Allies.
Just Lenny Hoffman as well. I thought was quite productive down back. But yeah, move on to the Allies, and Sam Marshall is someone whose game you were really high on with his repeat efforts, and I thought his decision making when he got the footy was pretty strong as well.
Yeah, 100%. He's one that I think goes completely under the radar. I guess the factor with him that probably doesn't rank him as high as the other mids that were out there is his hurt factor generally. He's just very productive, out of the contest and moving the ball in transition, and that's his main game. And that's what he's done for Allies the whole time, the whole championships. But he's just so well prepared. When he looks up, he knows where that next kick is going, isn't afraid to push it out wide and keep the ball moving in transition. And then move it inside 50. You want him to hit a target, he'll hit a target. And in such wet conditions as well, I thought he did it pretty well. And I can understand why he's someone that you can kind of miss as the game goes on, because just a workhorse generally and does the little things really well. But, compared to someone like a Lombard, where he's taking the game on himself and will literally take the game by the scruff of the neck and say, I'm going to win this myself. Marshall's just that one that will do all the work for you. He doesn't go unnoticed. He's just, he's that typical team player in the sense that he just does everything so well.
He's leading our votes at the moment as well. Obviously, the Allies have played more games than the other teams. Have only got the one game to go, but certainly having a good championships. The Brisbane Lions Academy product, Lockie Hogan, a GWS Academy product, is one who was brought in for the third game after Geordie Payne was drafted. Unlucky, I thought, to get overlooked in the initial squad, and we've talked about that on this podcast, but I thought that first half he really proved some doubters wrong with his tough contested work. There was some repeat efforts, some hard work in the contest, and when he got the footy, his kicking efficiency was really high. There was one target in particular where he hit right on the boundary line. It was about a 25-metre chiselling pass where if it had any more flight, or it was about half a metre to the right, then it would have been punched over the boundary line. It was half a metre to the left, it would have been out on the full. Hit his target perfectly, and I thought he did it all day. Yes, he had a quieter second half, but certainly a game to show what he can do at the level.
Yeah, well, your man gets his opportunity, and he was quite productive, and he's that effort player, will not give up in any sense. 4 quarters of consistent football, and probably wasn't able to find the footy as much in the second half, but I thought that first half, when there was a bit of forward pressure coming in, especially from Metro's way, stood up, was reliable back there, so pretty impressive, and he's got he'll have one more game.
It was interesting to see that he probably clearly played his better footy on the day off half back than when he went into the midfield, because I've probably preferred him in the midfield for Bendigo. But yeah, shows he can play off half back at a pretty high standard as well. I'll tell you, someone who played at a high standard was Zeke Euland. I thought found plenty of the footy and generally did really good things with it. His vision and decision making is really strong and had a couple of really nice moments where he just showed that silky skill that you've been really high on through the first couple of games of the championships, and kicks it to really dangerous spots when he's going inside 50.
Oh, 100%. He's not even this year, he's next year as well, which makes it a bit more scary for that draft crop and where he'll end up. But I thought it was some extra things as well. He took a really good intercept mark, showed a bit of athleticism, which probably hasn't been the key of his game. It's that left foot of his that's so lethal. Nearly had a really nice goal from 50 where I was like, kick that, like you're 50 metres out on the run, and had a good go at it, just missed. But so silky, yeah. He's gutsy as well. Like, he's willing to take that corridor kick on because he knows he can hit it with that left foot. So similar to someone I'd say last year, like a Tarkin O'Leary, who just had that ability to size up what's in the middle and just hit it on a 45-degree angle. And he was their leading disposal getter on the day with 25 touches, and thought he was actually going to lead the votes when I was adding them up. But he's currently second in the medal tally. So he's been massive. He's been in the top 3, I reckon, each week. Just
a couple of forwards to touch on from an Allies perspective. Ollie DePaul-Cubank kicked some important goals. Really clean crummer and just makes the most of his opportunities. Josh Murphy won his one-on-ones. I think he won a couple of free kicks as well, because he just causes so many, I guess, headaches for his direct opponent with the way he's able to guard the drop zone of the footy and his strength. They don't have a real play at the ball, and then they're forced to sort of go for the body or go for the jumper. So, yeah, kicked a couple of crucial goals, including one that sort of kept them in it for a little bit longer than you probably expected them to be in it. And then, obviously, Job Shanahan took some nice marks as well, although he didn't kick a goal on the day.
No, and that's probably been, like, that's the last 2 games with Job. They've just been so productive, but probably haven't really got the reward for effort. So that's the frustrating thing with their performances. I think one more opportunity. I'm hoping one of those 2 has a big bag, to be quite honest. That's my honest thoughts. I'll quickly, before you move on to the next game, I'll go through the votes.
Yep.
So for the Allies, 5 votes went to Sam Marshall, 4 went to Zeke Euland, 3 to Josh Murphy, 2 to Lockie Hogan, and 1 to Daniel Annable, who we didn't touch on, but he's super, super reliable in that midfield and was standing up. That was Dan Annable's game, and he's been doing that the last 2 as well. For Metro, Jagger Smith takes the 5, Murphy Reid takes 4, Damon Hollow takes 3, Harrison Oliver with the 2, and Levi Ashcroft with 1 vote.